On to 28. This one is where they planted those false energies within narratives while they also burned me up in the consequences of my own actions and their own actions taking over me while making me feel cheap and stupid and poisoned off quite well. So let's break it down. They were playing a whole different game than the narrative that they planted. It wasn't just about twisting facts. It was about seeding those false energies into my actual story, manipulating my perception so that I couldn't even reason with the reality of my own thoughts. And instead it was much like my own thoughts were then turned against themselves. The false narrative alone became like a poison in my life. The cortisol alone that it makes goes inside your body, and it creates this stress that's just painful. Not to mention you're being poisoned up covertly. So the false narrative that they built up around me was much like feeding the energy to other people as if I was the poison, or I was the problem, or that I did it all to myself. And then each lie that they could create dug deeper inside of the mind, which slowly eroded how I'd be able to even look at myself if I wanted to. But I did. I wanted to better myself in the worst way. So I was left very dispositioned inside of manipulated doubts, where I felt trapped within my own actions or inactions. Like it didn't matter which way you went. No matter what small actions that I would make, they're always being looked at through the lens of guilt, blame, and shame. And the worst part, they made sure it wasn't just their own mistakes that they made you carrying. They burdened you with sins, all to convert and cover up the tracks of their own affairs, if you can imagine that. But that's exactly what they did. I was too much of a burden to bear with the sins of the weight that they carried on their own shoulders. And even if they were inactions being poisoned off, those actions were never me. They were planted by their relentlessness and this very manipulation. So then they'd use my actions to burn me, to silence me, making every move I could think of making to escape impossible. So meanwhile I'm sitting there trying to work on myself, to better myself and figure this stuff out, they were moving to retire me forever.